Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation. We're going to quickly jump into CoinGecko here. As of this recording, it's going to be recorded previously at the time you see this. We're currently sitting at $1.82 trillion market cap, sitting at 1.6%. Coming out here, Bitcoin sitting at 38,264. Ethereum sitting at 2,614. Tether is Tether. Binance Coin sitting at 389.48. Cardano sitting at $1.06. Solana sitting at 96.03. XRP is almost sitting at 62 cents. Terra sitting at 51.06. And DOT sitting at 18.76. At the current time, we're seeing a lot more green in the market. Sandboxes keep going up 14%. There's some green going on in the market, but there's still a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD'd. Just fear and uncertainty in the market in general with inflation, Jerome Powell and the Fed tapering, interest rate hikes, and just a bunch of news articles that's been coming out. As you can see, due to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we're currently still sitting at a 24. We've been in this range for some time. We're going to start off with CNBC here. And as you can see, we are sitting in some green. SP 500 is almost up, 2.5%. NASDAQ up 3.13%. Coming over here, we can look at crypto. Some positives. You got 4% for Ethereum, 1.47 for Bitcoin, and so on. So obviously, today's a better day in our market. But as you can see, this headline right here, we're going to go over and click on this. So we've been talking about some of the catalysts that have been contributing to this so-called downside in our markets, especially within the crypto market. Like, why have we been in this extreme fear range for so long? And you got articles that come out like this. Obviously, we personally can't control the outcome of this COVID spread, but stuff like this can really, create a negative impact on the market. So it says the latest COVID variant is 1.5 times more contagious than Omicron and already circulating almost half of the United States. It says the key points. The Omicron subvariant known as BA2 is 1.5 times more transmittable than the original Omicron strain. The UK Health Security Agency on Friday said BA2 has a substantial growth advantage over the original Omicron known as BA1. Nearly half the US states have confirmed the presence of BA2 with at least 127 known cases nationwide as of Friday. So stuff like this. So just the article alone can create a lot of fear in the market and uncertainty, which then can lead to people, selling off their assets, which is totally understandable. But this stuff like this, it just only compounds on, the current situation we're in. It's just adding more weight on the market in a sense. So, with stuff like this, and then the big one being like Jerome Powell and the Fed, obviously we had the meeting on the 25th and 26th, you had this Q&A session with them. And one big thing that I got out of James from Invest Answers, he was talking about, we received, a big nothing burger, and it was more dovish than hawkish. But then when he came to the Q&A, Jerome Powell came to the Q&A, it was almost like he was pretty much saying inflation is it's only going to get worse. Things are only going to be getting worse, and everything that he was responding to when he was being asked the questions was, we got to be aggressive. It was almost like he took a very aggressive or hawkish stance in regards of, when they're planning, that's the approach they're going to take. So with that being said, and obviously no one really knows what the Fed is going to do, what their exact plan is. I mean, even Jerome Powell said they don't even know. It's almost like a wait and see, kick the can down the road and see where things are at. So obviously, we pulled up the meetings, the scheduled meetings in our past videos. Our next one is March 15th and 16th. So by this time, we may hear something when it comes to, their plan of attack for inflation and, the tapering and the interest rate hikes and kind of what they're going to do. But James Invest Answers had a good point. He goes, there's a lot of things that the markets don't like. And one of the biggest ones that he talked about was uncertainty, not knowing. And that's kind of where we're at. Jerome Powell pretty much left us with a big nothing burger, just guessing. So they say, with everything that's going on right now with the uncertainty, everything's priced into the markets already. That's why we're down. But like, who really knows? The fact that we don't really know what the plan is and we don't know where things are going to go. A lot of those investing institutions and, big well investors and retail investors as well, when we don't know, what the plan is and we don't know where this thing's going to go, of course, we're going to see some red or some more blood in the streets when it comes to our market, especially the crypto market. So I thought that was pretty powerful that James from Invest Answers had kind of gave his expertise and his viewpoint on kind of what's been happening right now with, the FOMC meetings and Jerome Powell and the Fed. So obviously stuff like that, the Omicron stuff and other articles can really, just add more weight and kind of keep us further down whenever it comes to our markets. Coming over here, This was a great point that George from Cryptos RS had brought up today, and it's an article that says JP Morgan lowers its Bitcoin fair price estimate to 38,000 amidst volatility. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to read this real quick. It says, leading investment bank JP Morgan has changed its view on the estimate of Bitcoin's price on a long-term basis. The institution has estimated a long-term price of 146,000 back in November when Bitcoin was over 60,000. One of the most important reasons for this change has to do with the increased volatility asset has faced in recent times. The new 38,000 price, about a fourth of the previous calculated number, was estimated in a different context concerning gold and Bitcoin and the volatility of the market. It says, our previous projection that Bitcoin to gold volatility ratio will fall to around 2x later this year seems unrealistic. Our fair value for Bitcoin based on the volatility ratio of Bitcoin to gold are around 4x would be a fourth of 150,000 or 38,000. So obviously JP Morgan's coming out and they're kind of changing kind of their viewpoint of the price of Bitcoin. So this goes directly into what I was talking to in a previous video when I was talking about I've been in the market since 2017. I've kind of seen the ebbs and flows of the markets and kind of seen how, big players in the industry, major corporations and, major wells that have a lot of money, just how these publications put out certain articles depending on where we're at in the market. And I was talking about how it seems to be like whenever we're super high and everything's going good and everything's pumping, right? You start to get those media articles coming out, just kind of feeding that fire, stoking that fire. Like, oh, Bitcoin's this, or crypto is this, and altcoin's this, right? So it just gets us to buy more and more and more. But when we tend to be in those ranges, that range of the market, we tend to be way over here in the extreme greed. So that without being educated, we think, oh, okay, cool. There's JP Morgan said it's going to 150,000. So boom, they're going to keep jumping in. But in reality, that's when things tend to go the other way. Now, on the other end, you got stuff like this. We're currently in the extreme fear range. So then you got JP Morgan changing completely 180 and flipping the script on their price prediction. Obviously, they have the right to do so. It's their opinion, their analysis or whatever. But this goes to the point of like you have these publications and these bigger players almost feeding this narrative of like, oh, bad, things are bad. Take care of yourself, protect yourself, yada, yada, yada. But in reality, we're in the extreme fear range. So based on my experience and based on other people's testimonies when it comes to markets in general, typically that you want to do the opposite of what these people are doing. It's like the FUD is only compounding on itself, which then goes to show you it's like, okay, this must be a great buying opportunity because it tends to do the opposite of what these bigger players or these big publications are saying. So that just brings up a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Just like the ebbs and flows of the market, and our market is highly manipulated. I mean, it's just a reality. Just it is what it is. And there's a lot of media outlets and a lot of big players out there that know the game and they understand that they can, kind of sway the markets just with these little jabs of these little articles and these little predictions that can either get you super high and super excited to get you by the top, or get you super, afraid and fearful and flood it out to where you sell your assets and they accumulate your assets. So I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was quite interesting, and you got to be highly cautious with stuff like this. Always do your due diligence. Invest what you're willing to lose, and just have high conviction on what you invest in. And you can literally this is irrelevant to you in the grand scheme of things. So coming over here, another one. It says the unhosted crypto wallet rule is back. The rule was first proposed by the U.S. money laundering watchdog in late 2020. So coming down here, it says a controversial proposed rule that would enforce Know Your Customer or KYC rules on the unhosted or self-hosted crypto wallets may again be under consideration by the U.S. federal government. The rule was first proposed at the end of 2020 by the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN, the U.S. money laundering watchdog. If enacted, crypto exchanges would be required to collect names and home addresses and other personal details from anyone hoping to transfer cryptocurrency to their own private wallets. Coming down here, it says FinCEN is proposing to amend the regulations implementing the Bank Secrecy Act, or BSA, to require banks and money services businesses to submit reports, keep records, and verify the identity of customers in relation to transactions involving convertible virtual currencies, CVCs, or digital assets with legal tender status. The legal tender digital assets, or LTDA, held in unhosted wallets or held in wallets hosted in a jurisdiction identified by FinCEN. So another example of just like more and more, like you see this just as a typical retail investor, or even if you're a bigger investor, you see this and you're like, oh my gosh, like, should I be worried? Is this going to be problematic? What is this going to do to the exchanges? What is this going to do to our ability to, have some sort of privacy when it comes to not in a sense of hiding everything, but have some privacy when it comes to our investing and what we do with our money. So things like this, all this does is just stoke that fear fire and keep us down in this range and keep people, selling bottoms, while the big players or the people like myself that see the writing on the wall know where this is going, and we're just continually accumulating. The big players are accumulating. Okay, do not, never financial advice here, but do not let go of your assets. Do not let go of your, your bags, because the big players are accumulating. You're selling it to them. That's just another example of an article I wanted to show you that kind of can stoke some fear whenever it comes to, its readers. So now with some positives, there's, like I always told you, yeah, we see a lot of negatives, especially in the times we're in, but there's so much adoption happening and so many positives happening on a day-to-day basis, okay? So just truly understand that. I have high conviction on this space, and I truly believe we're on the right side of history, genuinely. So Blockworks always posts like the highlights. It says Visa. It says 100 million vendors worldwide are accepting Bitcoin and crypto payments. That's absolutely massive. They also tweeted here, Colorado governor, our plans to allow people to pay taxes in Bitcoin and crypto haven't changed. So whether people want to pay in their Bitcoin, I wouldn't want to pay my Bitcoin, but it offers them a way to not have to go back into their fiat, which is huge. So then you have Texas governor candidate on Bitcoin. Texas can lead the greatest technology shift since the internet. So just some more positive, some more exposure. That's massive. This one is huge. Blockchain technology is revolutionizing our economy. So whether LeBron James truly understands, this space or whatever the case is, who knows who's feeding him this information? Maybe he is extremely dialed in. The whole point is the fact that, his presence and him saying these things is going to entice those millions and millions and millions of followers that he have that are not in the, blockchain or crypto space, right? They're going to entice them to say, oh, LeBron's speaking highly of it. LeBron's in it. So maybe I'll dip my my foot in the water and kind of get a feel for it. That's what we want. That's what we need. We need people to just kind of feel the water out, educate themselves, kind of get used to playing with, certain platforms like Coinbase and kind of utilizing wallets or whatever the case is, just to build their confidence and comfort in this space so they can see what this space has to offer. So once that happens, they all start trickling in. That's just going to expand the exposure and the amount of people we have in this space. Wallets are going to increase, projects are going to increase, demand's going to increase, price is going to increase. This space is just going to grow. And that's not even speaking about the employees that are sitting on the sidelines just waiting for some sort of regulatory clarity to say, hey, this space is safe. Your job, you're going to have a job if you come and work in this space. So then all those employees coming in, increasing production, increasing innovation, and just things just explode when it comes to our market. Like I told you, we are currently sitting at a $1.82 trillion market cap. I think it's as of the 29th. So by the time you see it, it's going to be the 30th, but that's where we're currently sitting at. It could be different tomorrow, but it's massive. This is just adoption after adoption after exposure after exposure. That's what this space needs. Now, when it comes to the grand scheme of things, regulatory clarity is what this space absolutely needs. He also goes by, says, I want to ensure that that communities like the one I came from are not left behind. And you know what, that hits me tough, man. That really hits my heart, because I feel the same way, man. When it comes to the people I cross paths with, the people that stepped out of their comfort zone to help me to get me where I'm at today, I want them all to know about this, and I want their family and loved ones to know about it, and I want their communities to know about it, because it's obviously changed me and my wife's life. And quite honestly, I see the writing on the wall, and the future for, the crypto space is massive. So I want everybody to know about it and have the opportunity to partake in it and be a part of that history. Coming over here, we talked about this yesterday, so I won't go too far into detail, but, Arizona considered making Bitcoin legal tender. It's massive. Arizona state senator has introduced a bill that would make Bitcoin legal tender in the state. It says, although federal law could complicate things, Arizona State Senator Wendy Rogers introduced a bill which seeks to add a statute to Arizona law making Bitcoin legal currency. Absolutely massive. Obviously, we have, Tonga, you have El Salvador, Miami stuff. You got a whole bunch of adoption happening. And obviously, we talked about this one too, Apple CEO. We see a lot of potential in the metaverse and are investing accordingly. So obviously, talking about specifically the metaverse, which, NFTs, gaming, metaverse, all that stuff, which is massive. Cryptocurrency adoption overall. Obviously, Apple CEO, he may invest in Bitcoin and they may invest in Bitcoin. And, they're not very outspoken about everything, but the writing is on the wall. You got bigger players like this coming out saying this stuff. It's just going to bring more people in. It's going to bring more confidence in the space. And this just shows you that, this space is here to stay. So now to end on something kind of unique, it says First time in history, NFT search volume is higher than crypto worldwide. Let's take a look at this. Look at that. So, it could just be a little phase, but obviously we know NFTs have been massive. There's been so much exposure when it comes to NFTs, but that's what we need. Even if it's that sector of the crypto space, it's just NFTs getting all that exposure. That's okay. That's just going to, like I said, it's going to allow people to dip their feet in the water and kind of, fill this space out, see what it has to offer. And as they become more comfortable, then they start diving into all our other sectors: DeFi, gaming, NFT, metaverse, layer ones, layer twos, every sector in the crypto space. This is absolutely massive. Amongst all the negativity, all the fear that's going on in the market, the prices being way down, I'm here to let you know my portfolio has been decimated just like everybody else's. But you know what? I continue to hold strong, knowing that I have high conviction. I've done my due diligence, and I've invested in projects that I feel have true staying power and that can truly make a difference in our lives. And I truly feel like this is our future. I feel like the projects that I'm in is really going to change our future. And it actually is right now. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.